So I'm now recording it. Hi, if someone just came on, I just wanted to wait a few minutes to wait for a couple more people to join the webinar.
Sure. Good afternoon. This is Paul Rhodes calling. How are you?
Good, Mr. Rhodes. I was just typing to you, so I'll delete that.
Okay.
How are you?
Very good. I
Oh,
just had a
good.
little trouble entering the code. I'm using our link system here to make the call and the the other thing.
No, very good. Well, you got on. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
Do you use Google Apps much at all, Mr. Rhodes?
I don't use the apps so much per se, primarily because I work in IT and I have access to a lot of the Microsoft software. So,
Sure.
but I do use a lot of their other services: the mail, the calendaring, the cloud storage services,
Sure.
and those types of things.
Yeah. And that's certainly where we're going in. Obviously, for the free applications is so much better for a school system to use, and obviously we want to give people the opportunity to learn to be adaptable in any society. So that's where
Yeah,
a lot of
I
benefits.
have used the OpenOffice.org products, which is the open source stuff that most of the
Yeah,
Google apps are based on. So I'm
yeah.
familiar with that.
I've never actually used the Open Office. Have you, Abby?
No, I haven't because I've always used Google Docs,
Yeah.
so it's similar.
Yeah. No, this was some time ago when I was using some Linux systems and other various things, and just out there looking at it, trying it out.
Yeah, yeah. Again, the rule of a lot of this stuff, at least for us as educators, is if you can get 90% of the functionality and it's free, why not do it? Um,
Absolutely.
and
Especially when you struggle so hard to get funding for anything.
that's it. And so if you can save money in one area to kind of spend in another, I mean, that for us is a way to go. Um,
Yep.
well, we might as well get started. We're about 5 minutes in, so even if it's just us for now, hopefully some other people join. I think I'm going to start a hard push, starting to get people to sign up and do this too. I wanted the first few to be as informal as possible, just so we can get used to
Yeah.
using the product and the software too. Um, but certainly, I do want to start filling these things up, which I think would be beneficial. So we want to start seeing if we can get that done. But anyway, let's go through it. You can see my screen, correct?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, so I'll just start the presentation if that's okay with you.
Certainly.
Okay, we made some objectives to start. Uh, we said we'll introduce the Google Apps for Education platform. What is it? Applications at Wamogo, and demonstrate a Google Drive apps, synchronous collaboration and sharing, which we do a lot here at school, and the kids do a lot in the classrooms. Any questions about any
Cool.
of that before we kind of move on?
No, this is great stuff. I look forward to seeing it.
Good. For certainly the benefits, we talked about a little bit of this before informally. It's free. It's web based. There's no software to download. There are multiple applications, including email, spreadsheets, sites, forms, calendar. And everybody probably has a different use for different things. I know for me, I do a lot of forms with surveys for either kids or for teachers, all that. Kids are doing a lot of working with docs and different things. So there's obviously different applications work for different people in different ways. Um, it's an opportunity to practice authentic, collaborative, and communication skills. It's easy to access everything from one spot, and it's a secure school domain, so it's safe. All right, how do we use Google Apps? You want to take over, Apps?
Sure. This school wide we're using this, and they're even using it at the elementary level. Because we have a school domain, the good thing about that it's a uniform way for us to be able to deliver information to students and get information from students. Up until the point we started using it, when we were using student emails, they could be their own personal emails. It's hard to know what the student's email is to get them information. And now students have an email that is an rsd6.org email, which is great, and they can share this with their teachers. And we have access to all of the students' emails, and they have access to ours as well, as far as getting information between teachers and students. That's been a huge benefit in a variety of levels, for students to be able to contact teachers and vice versa. With the Google Docs and the other applications, being able to share them with each other really easily. And the way it works is, even if the student starts off typing in the name of the person to share with, the name comes up so they can share a document with a classmate or a student in another class. It doesn't have to be in their class they can collaborate with. So it kind of opens up the possibilities about the kind of work our students can do, and the kind of work our teachers can facilitate in their class as well.
And even from a fiscal point, we were talking before a little bit about scarce resources. I think over the last 5 years, and I forget if it was just this school, if it was all schools, we've used over 15 million copies, and certainly we're trying to become more and more digital in our classes. And even with that, teachers and students sharing documents will save on printing costs. So for the long run, this is going to be a cost saver as well for districts, including us.
And it's a great way to organize the students' work as well. Students will often work from one document. We just worked with students who were, through a form we created, they compiled a list of really good websites to use on the topic that their class was studying. And so it was a web evaluation lesson. They put this information into a form, and then that form creates a spreadsheet that the whole class could share, or the teacher could share with the whole class. So there's some really great overlap of skills that we're doing, and with some of the applications, they're learning how to do some great work with collaboration, and even the importance of knowing that other people see your work. A lot of what kids write now is online, and it's live, it's real time, and the same thing happens in Google Docs, and it helps them realize that other people can see what they're doing, and it helps their peers and their teachers do some editing as well. The great thing is that students can edit while another student is writing in the same paper, which is not likely in any other.
Which,
and
I know which Microsoft is still trying to figure out.
Tell me that again.
I said, which Microsoft is still trying to figure out. They're trying to implement that in their SharePoint 2013, and it works okay.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is that you don't think of this, but when you have a Microsoft document and you change it, it resaves another copy very often. And this is just one copy of a document. So whether students are working on a presentation, whether they're working on a spreadsheet together, the teachers use it a lot in conjunction with one another when we're writing reports or when we're collecting data. It's just one document that we can each open, and it looks just like it was just edited. We don't have to worry about what version of the document it is, which is a huge help, because knowing I still have a lot of Microsoft documents that are actually copies of other Microsoft documents. I have to look at the date stamp and things like that to know which one is the right one. And that's not the case here.
And truthfully, within our building, we have Microsoft still on teachers' computers, partly because we have so many documents that are just out there to upload or transfer,
Right.
Along with that,
I think there's a long. I apologize. I think there's a long delay when I'm speaking.
Oh, that's
so
okay.
I apologize if I interrupt you.
Not at all. Not at all. I figured it'd be better if we can communicate like this anyway.
Yeah.
I was going to say that the other things that students have access to once they have a school domain account, and actually anytime you have a Google account, you'd have access to this, but in their school domain account, they have access to so many tools that they are just learning about even at this point. We are having students make websites using Google Sites, which they love. It's a great application. It's like kind of what you see is what you get site. So they can build the site and they don't have to know code. And they can create really cool projects that then they can share with other people as well. And they can work, again, collaboratively on a website. And there's a whole grade level of them. The 7th grade this year all created their own websites. And we talked about their web presence even as students in 7th grade. They did them on book projects that they did and created a book project on a website, which I thought was pretty great. And the kids were really excited about that as well. And I think it's a good tool and good skills to know for jobs and for careers.
We've had conversations here as well, just with the fact that some of our older students probably struggle a little more with their web presence, different things than the younger students. The younger students come up with almost much more skills in many respects than some of the older students.
Right.
Anyway, Google Drive, multiple users can be editors. One document is shared, and a creator sets privacy, private, shared, or public.
So typically, a document that a student makes, they ask this question a lot: that who can see this document, and no one can see it unless they decide to share it. And oftentimes, we'll get caught in a situation where we're trying to open a document, and the person who shared it with us didn't set the security to um, the right level, and it is by default a private document until the person who has created it has set that, which is a great feature. So if you are just taking notes or you're just typing something up and you don't want to share it, you actually have to deliberately share it with someone in order to do that, which I think is a really good feature.
Should we go out and create an account and or
Yeah.
create a
Yeah.
document?
Yeah, you create a document and then share it with me, and
All
I
right.
will.
All right, so I'm gonna go back into. Looks like somebody else signed in. I hope so.
No, that was me. I switched devices here because this other thing had such a bad delay, and I got to drop it.
Very good.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. So I'm gonna go into Google Drive and create a document. So I go over here. I went to Google Drive. I hit create, and then there's all sorts of choices for what type of thing do I want to do. I want to create a document, presentation, spreadsheet, form, or drawing. So I'm going to create a document, and here I'm in the document. Do you want me to go ahead and title a document or just share it with
you
you?
can say it like
All
practice document,
All
or
right.
give it a name, and then we'll share it with me.
All right. So I'm going to call this practice. So now its title has been changed. If you look up here, it was an unnamed document before, and now it's practice. To go into share, where am I going
You
here?
need to move that window
Yeah, let
over.
me get out of this.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to go over here. You see the button that says share, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Basically, I just click that. I share, and then now it says it's private. So I have a choice here. What Abby was talking about, I could change that to public. I could change that to whatever I wanted to do at this point. But now I'm going to add somebody. So I'm going to add Abby to this. And see at the bottom where it says can edit, she is now that has the right to do that. So I'm going to type in Abby's name here, and she comes up with my email. I plug that right in, and I hit share and save.
Now, let me ask this question. As you were typing, there was a pre-filled list there. Is that searching your Google account contact list?
It is. It is.
Okay.
It's searching everybody that we have in our contacts.
Yep. Okay.
So certainly, but the same thing with you. Once it's in there, it's in there. You know.
Right.
So, all right. So I'm gonna click done, and now I have a document. I'm not gonna type on it, but I have a feeling Abby will go in and she will type first, and so you can see that there'll be two of us into the document at this point. Like right now, I'm not on my keyboard. Abby is, so she's typing, and see her name pops up.
Yeah. This is collaborative editing has been a struggle for a long, long time, and this is good to see this. I haven't seen the Google version of this collaborative editing, but like I said, it's something we're implementing here within our own SharePoint systems, and Microsoft is just finally learning how to do this, and it's okay. It's not as dynamic as this. They eventually pop in when it refreshes, but.
Sure.
And what another thing that is a really great feature of this is, and I guess this is part of Microsoft to a certain degree, but there's a history feature. It records every time it saves. It records that copy. So what happens often when we start using this tool with students is they do things like they'll delete each other's work, or they're learning how to collaborate together online, or and they're testing out some of the possibilities. So what we can do is we can go back in the history and we can call up that version and restore it, which is a great feature, and we use it quite often, especially when we first start doing this with students. And now students are getting used to using this, and that's not happening so much. But when we first started using this, it was really exciting to kind of
play with somebody.
Yeah, and take their work out, and add your own words in. And there's also a comment feature on the side here. Oops, I just got rid of it. You can add your comments here. You can also see who's viewing it.
So you do that? Oh, go ahead.
So you see where it says one other viewer?
Yep.
Do that one instead. So click that one.
Okay.
And then you can type your chat. You can chat in the window. So if we were working in two different locations, I might type some suggestions on the side here, or have a conversation, just like texting, but using it within the document, which is it's kind of a nice feature as well.
Well, it's a great feature if you think about it. I mean, just to kind of get ideas or brainstorm with each other.
Yep.
Another feature is the research feature, which is a pretty cool feature. Under tools, if you click on research, sorry, I keep thinking that you can see my screen. I click on research, and you're in a search window. So while you're typing a paper, or if you're writing an essay and you need to look up something, it goes right into Google, and you can search. I don't know, search.
I don't know. Let's say,
Like volcanoes or something.
sure, I'll say volcano.
Yeah, there's science projects for that.
We just had an innovation expo here at school, so.
So then
I know. I saw the Twitter feeds. It was great.
Very good. I'm glad you're following along, Mr. Rhodes.
I am.
So as you can see, you can do research within. You can. It's almost like having another panel open simultaneously. It is really it's within the document window, which is a really cool feature, I think, and it has a dictionary built in there too. So under research, one of the choices is Google. One is images. So if you wanted to just look up images, you can do that. If you go back to go hit
Tools. Research.
hit research, and then if you hit that drop, there we go.
There we go.
So you can just a lot of times kids are looking for images, and it gives them images that they could use for a project. You can drag it over. So it loads up, and it's very interesting. There's a lot of really cool things about Google Docs that are kind of an improvement on Microsoft Word, really. Yeah. And the other part is that it's web-based, so it really doesn't make any difference what kind of device the student has, and they don't have to buy the software again. That's huge. And a lot of times we had problems with kids who had a Mac, who were using a different software than the kids who had PCs, or if they had a Mac at home. And this is universal. I mean, they can find these documents with an app on their phone. I mean, I look at my Google Docs on my phone all the time. So it's really a convenience that is hard to imagine at this point. Once you start using it, it's hard to imagine having used anything else.
It really is.
Absolutely. I mean, I have Android devices, I have Windows devices, I have Mac devices. I'm primarily a Mac user, but I work and live in a Windows world here at the Harford. So these types of things are, I mean, they're perfect.
Sure. Especially in education. I guess I could see in some businesses why it wouldn't make sense, but realistically, in education, I don't think there's any other platform to use at this point.
Right.
It just seems to make sense to me.
Right. Well, it is. It's operating platform agnostic, which makes it like you just said. It can work for anybody as long as you have a web browser.
Right. Yeah. Do you want to go back in and talk about some of the other areas?
I wanted to add one more thing. Once you're in your dashboard, if you're under Docs, what you can do, and what a lot of our teachers have done, is that it actually allows you to upload Word documents, and it converts them into Google Docs. Yeah, if you go back to your drive, I don't know if you have any that you could upload, but where that arrow is, you can just show how.
Sure.
I don't know what you have for files, but you can upload anything. I can upload a file of any sort, pretty much, and
let me see here. I'll pick. It looks like this is get ready for order of operation.
No, I do use Google Drive, and I have a ton of information up there I use.
Oh, you do? Okay. All right. So
I use Google Drive. Yeah.
You had to upload
but I don't use
stuff.
Like I said, I don't often use the apps though, so it's good to see the apps and and how they're used, because I've never really used them.
Okay.
We could show him. I want to show him like the presentation. It's like PowerPoint.
Sure.
We found a big one that a lifesaver for kids' presentations is Google Presentation. Again, PowerPoint doesn't tend to be one of those things that kids get on their computers, even if they had Microsoft. A lot of times they wouldn't have PowerPoint. So presentation, it looks just like PowerPoint, and it operates like PowerPoint.
Yeah. So what I opened, if you see your screen, I just say create presentation. Very similar. I think this is what Abby chose for our presentation here, was probably Biz.
Yep.
When we did that before. So she clicked on that, clicked OK. Then now you're in, you add your title and do whatever. Same thing as PowerPoint, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. And you share with a link, which is a lot different than, you don't have to upload it to everything. And if you're using if you use Google Sites is compatible with all Google Docs and Google Presentations. So when you're making a website, if you use those as well, you can embed documents right in your website, or embed a form in a website. We use forms a lot here too, Google Forms.
Yeah. Hey, Abby.
Yes.
If you were to create a presentation or document and share it to somebody, if I were to download that to, for example, my machine, so I have Office 2011 for the Mac. Does it save it in an Office format? Is it in the new XML type format that would be compatible?
I don't know. I think if you download it, you can upload a PowerPoint and turn it into a presentation. Now, as far as downloading it into another format, it downloads it as a PDF.
Okay.
So it doesn't download it into another format. I'm looking at my screen right now just to look at download as. These are my choices. I can download it. Oh no, it will let me download as a PowerPoint. I apologize. As a PDF, as a scalable vector graphic, as a PNG, JPEG. This is images or plain text.
Okay.
You had to. I mean, it looks like there's enough options where if you, no matter what you were using, you could find a way to
Yeah.
get this
Yeah.
to work for you. So
And do you have Microsoft Office on your Mac?
Yeah, it's all the Office 2011 for Mac.
Yeah, that'll work then. That'll work.
So you can download. You
Looks
can go.
like,
Then you could send it to upload it, and then you could put it back as PowerPoint as well if you wanted to.
it looks like that's what's on Bill's computer too.
Yes.
I'm looking at it.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So.
Do you? I think. I just quick question. This is a little off topic here. I see Lync and that's active. Do you use Microsoft Lync at the school?
No, I
Okay.
don't. Yeah, I've never even used Microsoft Link. I know it's there. The L.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I don't have that.
What is it used for?
It's just the bar is lit up. It's a collaboration tool for messaging and video chatting and
it is, okay.
conferencing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've never ever used it, to be honest with you. I knew it was there, and I never even browsed it, to be honest, to play.
All right, I was just curious. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail you.
No, that's
No. That's why we're here.
That's really good.
Again, very similar to what I like about this as well is very similar to creating Google Doc and how you rename things. It all looks the same, which is great. And if you were to run the presentation, you just go view, present, and you're in.
And of course, like even today with students who were doing presentations in the library, what was great was the students who had them on Google Docs didn't need to bring any equipment with them. We had a computer set up.
Yeah.
So all they have to do is log into their Google account and everything is there. And the more I use Drive, the more I realize how much I need it.
It's almost just easier than anything else we've ever done, to be honest with you, in that regard.
Yeah.
It's there. But now if you go back to Drive, you want to create a form?
Yeah, the forms are a great feature, and it's free. We did votes today on how to student choice awards, and I made the form up on this, and vote practice form or something to show like the features.
Yeah.
We've used forms for a quick assessment in class to see what kids know. So we'll put the link to a form on a teacher website and have the kids quickly answer questions. Say in my case, it would be we talk about like digital literacy, we talk about plagiarism, things like that. Like what do we know before we start the lesson? And what in Google Forms does, besides the fact that it's really easy to make, it's easy to get it to the kids. You can create any kind of form you want. You can then get the feedback. So you can once the form is created, the students' answers. The form looks like a cool form. It doesn't look like anything serious or a spreadsheet. It looks like a form. But on my end, when I create it, all of those answers get dumped into a spreadsheet, which then I can do things with that information. And one of them is I can quickly show them in a graph what their responses were to a certain question. So then that becomes kind of a jumping off point in class if you use it like that. Like, only 20% of you answered yes, and that was the correct answer. And let's talk about why that's the case.
So this is like an instant survey.
That's exactly what it is. It's awesome.
And those are my next. I'm looking at this going, okay, and I think you already answered that, Abby. Is that okay? Once you do this, the data is gathered. And then where's
And I'll show you something. I could probably dump into. I'm going to go back into my Drive and open something up, and I'll show you how quickly it is to analyze the data, if that's okay.
Do you have one that has some really clear data, like yes, no kind of stuff?
I'd love to.
Where am I going? I got to go back to Google Drive, right? Here we go.
Yeah, I'd love to see how the data is gathered and how it can be used and where it can be connected.
I could send you one.
No, I have one here, I think. Let me do this. CMT. Here we go. I have this. I said this is something I sent out to the staff. Now, the data gets dumped into a spreadsheet like this, so it doesn't look helpful, but especially with quick data, it's very, very helpful. So if you go into form, you could go to show summary of responses, and immediately it puts into graphs like that, which is very helpful. So if you're looking for a quick snapshot on something, and then you can kind of look at the answers as well.
Yeah, but if it comes in that spreadsheet style format, you can do anything with it.
That's exactly right. That's correct. Yeah.
You have both options, and you can sort and resort and just pull out the data you want. This is like like I said, it gives you like a quick look, especially when you're working with a class, so they can see how. And they actually really like to see. They want everything instantaneously.
And this was the original form, so you can kind of take a look at it. You know,
That's very, very cool.
it's very cool. It's very quick, and it's very easy. You know, that's the great part about all this stuff, and they really make it almost. You know, I know Abby's much more of an expert than me, but it makes it mindless on some level to be able to do some of this stuff.
Well, yeah, I wish we could use this stuff here, but we're a financial institution, and federal laws prohibit us from keeping certain stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish we had I wish there was like an on-prem version of all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there will be.
Yeah.
At some point, I
And the interesting part for me is they just keep making it better and better.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and you don't have to do upgrades. It just happens.
no, no, it's
Cool
ideal.
stuff.
And all of the different applications, whether it's the calendar, the site, any of your documents, they all are connected to each other. So once you start using one of the products, you see ways that you can do that. We're now using Google Plus with the teachers,
Yeah.
and that's been a great way to communicate,
Yep.
to share articles, to share events, and so a lot of us are spending time checking that out as a resource for each other and for future use with our students.
I mean, yeah, it really is very, very amazing with some of the stuff that we can do. Let's see here. What else do we want to go through? Do you want to go?
Let's see. We have you don't have any apps. There are certain things because we're a school domain and Bill doesn't have you. You might if you go under more. Yeah, we have access to apps, and I find that kind of interesting too. It's kind of looking at apps just like how a Mac has apps for the iPad. They've found ways to embed apps into Google, just like on Google Chrome. Even you can have apps, but even within our domain, like we had them added by our IT person. So Slide Rocket is an app. It's a different presentation tool that's free, and we may not use that with students because it would be another account they had to make. But now that it's associated with their Google account, they can log into Slide Rocket with their Google account and make a cool slideshow, or And so there's again some overlapping with this Google account that the students have. They have access to a lot of tools that, again, we can kind of control what their Google account is, the school account, so we don't have to remember what baseball team they named their email account, or they have the name of their cat in it. It's always it's like their first initial last name like ours. So we can find the student and we can help them make accounts or log into programs like this as well. So
Do they want to play around with the apps or no?
no, we don't necessarily need to, but it's just it's the idea that we can add more and just find more apps you can shop just like you can in app stores. And these are all apps that anything we would add would be to help enhance the tools that are already there.
Yeah.
On mine, I have like something. It's called Pixel Editor, and it's a free app to edit pictures like Photoshop. I mean, there's so many things available now. It's really unbelievable.
Right. Yeah.
And even as far as blogging, I know both Abby and myself have blogs that we try and use and update regularly. But even the students are blogging now in their classes, and teachers are using Blogger as a tool, or obviously different. They could be using different sites as well. But certainly, it's there's a lot of uses of Google.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're just switching over here. We had a different client for our email, and so that's happening right now. We're switching over to just Gmail for our teachers. They'll have all the same email addresses, but we had been using World Clients, and so that's a big switch for teachers to move over to that part too. So we're kind of moving everyone over to Google at this point.
No, I'm not as great with my organization of it, and certainly there's a lot of people who are better with using folders and things like that. But you can organize your work in folders, and certainly by what's shared with you or what's recent, your activity. So I mean, there's a lot of real uses that students have here at school as well.
And they're learning, and this is new for them too. So it's one of those kind of situations where the teachers are having to integrate this into their class instruction, really, like taking time to show the kids how to make folders, time to show them how to use the presentation tool or how to make sure that you did share this with your peers. And the students are getting better at this really quickly, and are using this more because they're seeing how easy it is. They, like most kids don't have to carry things with them, so they really don't have to carry flash drive or anything if they use Google Docs. It's all wherever they sit down, they can find their documents, which is a really sometimes it's hard to believe that concept is possible, but
I know. I'm sitting here thinking I know how I can use this.
Yeah.
I make sure my son puts all his work out here, and then make sure that he shares it with me, and I can go check up on his homework.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, it's a great tool for that.
Yeah. I earlier asked a question, Abby, about saving this off from Google to the different things. There's an option here to save it to the XLSX format for a sheet, so it does save in the Microsoft XML format.
Oh, right.
Which,
Okay, good.
which of course would keep macros and other things like that. I also have, like I said, I have documents up there, and I was able to sneak through our firewall here and get out to my Google Drive. And I shouldn't say that loud because our network guys are right over the wall from me, but the I opened one up and I can edit it in their apps as well, so it's completely compatible, which is really cool.
Yeah.
No, that's really great.
It really is an amazing company if you think about all the stuff they've been able to.
Oh yeah.
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 And we've used.
But
oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was just going to make a comment. I said, but the way that you guys are embracing this and the way that you're using it and bringing the students into it, I think is just fantastic. I think it's great.
Well, thank you, and certainly, we may do a webinar similar to this again because I do think this is really beneficial for parents as well, just to learn how they can help their kids a little bit in a way that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
What else? There was something else I was going to share. What do you think, Ab? Is there anything else?
I don't know. We've covered a lot of the bases. I think that we learn new things every day and find new ways to use it. And what's great is that it's almost like there's nothing we can't change with this product. Like we can upload a document that wasn't necessarily one that we could make edits to, and we could turn it into one that you can. And that's, I just think the power of it is that it gets the information out to more people and really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The number of times during one day when I'm like, I'll just share it with you. We just had the expo winners, and I would create a document with all the recommendations and the commendations, and it's got a lot of information on it, and really I have to just share it with the people, and it's in their account, and it's instantaneous. I don't have to deliver it, photocopy it, attach it to an email. I mean, things are moving really quickly, and this is so much more streamlined than attaching it to an email. And that's something that this year I think a lot of our teachers have really gotten into and got on board with, because that seems like one extra step. It seems so amazing when we could do that at first, but now it's like one extra step we don't even want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
So, we were picking up on this really quickly, and it's a tool that we're going to use. We do pretty much use system wide, and even in the younger grades, they're using this and learning how to use this. And I like the idea that kids can practice some of their skills, their online skills, their digital citizenship skills in an environment that is safe, so we can kind of make some changes to behavior if we have to in a safe way, and also teaching them about how people can, or at a smaller scale, and teaching them how to use these tools appropriately. And like I said, when we start, it's funny because the kids dive right in and they comment down the side panel. They'll write all kinds of comments, and they're in the document doing things. And then after like the next class, they're all set to go and they understand what they're being asked to do, and that we can all see the work. So there's no place to really hide. It's about being productive and working collaboratively and appropriately with each other. And those are situations that we always like to have the students practicing, because certainly they're going to be needing those in college and in the workplace. And those are skills that even as adults we didn't really have to worry about when we were kids. Now we are, learning about the implications of online activity. So I like that piece as well.
And in some ways, one thing I kind of love about this webinar series that we're trying to do is just the opportunity so parents know what their kids are doing and how quickly they're using things and navigating. Because sometimes I think they're not even really sure exactly what their kids are into or doing, because they don't use the tools themselves.
I know. I mean, you're absolutely right. A lot of parents don't. They just, and I'm sure. I know Jane was on a couple of weeks ago, and she came on to get a better understanding, because I know she does. Like I said, I know Jane and David very well, and lots of people. They what's going on. The kids are doing these things, and how are they doing this, and so on and so forth. And my 12-year-old, about 2 years ago, he was 10 years old, and I was working from home, and I hear him blurting out this IP address to a friend on a phone, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he and his friend set up a virtual private network using some open source VPN software so they could collaborate on their game.
Of course.
I'm like, 10 years old. I'm like, are you kidding me?
It's amazing, isn't it? It's incredible, and you want to harness all of that, because there's a lot of careers that they could be doing with those skills.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love this.
Yeah, and well, and you know what else? It's hard to stay on top of it too. So I think what you're doing here again, I know this is just getting underway, but as you get more parents involved in this, you guys are making an effort to get those parents to understand what's going on, and I think that's terrific.
Good. No, absolutely.
And truthfully, like we said last week too, we're learning as well as we're going along. We're getting new insight just by talking to people.
Right.
Well, the
Yep.
idea that you could say, like you were saying, like, well, why don't you share that document with me? They might be like, well, how does he even know that I can do that? Or, you can get your
Right.
homework done because you don't need a computer because it's on Google. You don't have to use that computer. You can use this computer because it's on Google Docs. I mean, those are things that would be helpful to know too. That you can just log in and get your work. So, um,
Yep.
it's
And
all
in a connected world, when we have all these tablets and devices, there's no excuses anymore.
Exactly, exactly. That's too bad for the kids.
That's right. No ducking out.
Exactly, exactly.
no, I
Is there
think
anything else you want to
no,
share?
I think that covers kind of the
Yeah.
basics of driving or the apps that the students are using. I mean, there's always going to be things that are going to change, and we really enjoy sharing what our students are doing and how they're using the tools. And we, like Bill has said, we learn a lot from the students, but also how the teachers apply these tools as well, and how well they work. And the teachers are really willing to try out these tools in their classes and through their instruction and for their assessment. And I think it's been a great thing because we've learned a lot, and the kids have learned to work together and collaborate more. And it's very easy now to do that. You don't have to
Yep.
have your parents drive you to someone's house to work on a
No,
poster,
no.
you know, those days are gone. So, no, it's been a nice tool for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, really, when you think about these expo projects that people put together, in some ways, they're just collaborating in groups. I mean, whole classes working together on some level and having to do using a platform like this makes it so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And had one of my son's uh, teammates in an English assignment that two others were doing had his friend use something like this, then he would have had to stay after school yesterday and miss his baseball game because
Exactly.
his friend who was responsible for getting all the images and things to input for the thing, he apparently lost them off of his iPod.
Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
I'm like, tell him he's using the wrong medium.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, that's great.
Well, good. We'll continue with our webinar series probably after vacation,
Sure.
and we'll figure out what we're going to do. I know we looked into Naviance. I think it was the next one we said. It's a college tool. Do you use Naviance at all, Mr. Rhodes?
No, I've never used it.
It's a pretty interesting tool. It's a tool to help college search, and there's a whole great many things you can do in there with the SSPs, that's student success plans, and
Yep.
tracking progress and things like that. So it's a pretty neat tool, but we'll get into that probably in the next week or so. I want to thank you again for coming. And again,
Yeah,
if you
thank
talk to
you.
anybody and you can kind of convince them to join, it would be great. We may expand our horizons a little bit even beyond the RSD6 community at this point, and just say, hey, you guys want to join and explore and learn together too, just to try and fill it up a little bit.
Yeah, no, these are fantastic, and I'm gonna to continue to make efforts to attend these. I mean, we have these things internally here. They're called lunch and learns that we do. And they're
Sure.
just online things, but are very similar where we reach out to other organizations to share information. So, I just like I said, I think this is great stuff that you're doing, and I really appreciate it. And so you can count me in. I'll be here when you're online. So,
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mr.
you
Rose. We
bet.
really appreciate it.
Hey, great job. Thank you.
All right, take
Thanks.
care. Bye
Bye
bye.
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 Okay. Hit the re- no, that was the camera. No, wasn't it here? No.